All right, what's up, everybody? Just going to jump right in. What if I told you the thing most of us were raised to chase after, the steady 9 to 5 job, isn't just fading, it's on track to becoming extinct. Now, I want you to stick with me here because I think this is going to be a really important episode of the Mark Casto program.
Welcome to the Mark Casto program, where we challenge the old systems, tear down chaos, and build with kingdom clarity. Here, we equip a generation of wise messengers like you to turn God-given wisdom into lasting impact and real wealth. Let's dive in.
Listen, friend, that's not me trying to scare you. That's not me trying to sound edgy for clicks. That's not even something some random influencer saying that jobs are dead. This comes from Reid Hoffman. He's the co-founder of LinkedIn, the guy who literally built the largest professional networking platform on the internet, on the planet, okay? And he recently said that by 2034, the traditional 9 to 5 job will be a relic of the past. I want you to pause on that for a second, okay? A relic, not rare, not hard to find, a relic, like a museum piece, something that your grandkids will point at in a textbook one day and say, wait, people actually used to live like that? And here's what makes that even crazier. 2034 is less than 10 years away. So if you've got kids in elementary school right now, they're going to possibly graduate in a world where the 9 to 5 job is not the standard. So if you're in your 30s or 40s, you could hit mid-career right as that entire system collapses, okay? So let's just be brutally honest. If you're still planning your life around the idea of job security, the rug is about to get ripped out from under you. And that's the tension of this episode, because when systems collapse, there are always two types of people, the ones who panic and the ones who prepared. So here's my question for you. Are you going to be forced into change when the old system finally caves in? Or are you going to be one of the pioneers who's already built something by then? And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Guys, I'm your host, Mark Casto. I'm the host of the Mark Casto program. Guys, I walked away from the 4-walled pastor model, and now I'm building a 6-figure, soon-to-be 7-figure business, and I built this digital product business from scratch. And when I say from scratch, I mean it. I invested the last few dollars I had to my name and a word from God into a laptop, internet connection, and I built from there. Now I spend my life helping messengers, thought leaders, authors, kingdom entrepreneurs take the God-given wisdom that has been placed inside of them, their stories, their lessons, the frameworks, the strategies, and turn it into income and impact online. Because here's what I believe. Wisdom is greater than entertainment. Value is better than going viral. And a digital product business should actually change lives, not just wallets. This podcast isn't about hype or hustle. It's about building businesses that create financial freedom and time freedom so you can live fully present with the people you love and become exactly who you're meant to be. And every week I sit down with you, not just to impress you with my knowledge, but to peel back the curtain, share the raw stories, hard lessons, the strategies that work, and the unfiltered truth about what it really takes to build a movement around your wisdom. And every once in a while, I'm going to share about cultural events from a kingdom perspective, because this isn't just a podcast. I believe that the Lord uses this as a blueprint. So if you're ready to stop renting your life out to someone else's dream, if you're ready to stop trading hours for dollars, if you're ready to unlock the message inside of you and build something that lasts, then this episode is for you. Now, let's circle back to Reid Hoffman, okay? This isn't a small voice in the corner of the internet. This is one of the architects of modern professional life. LinkedIn has over 1 billion users worldwide. If anyone has a front row seat to how work is changing, it's him. And his warning was simple. By 2034, the 9 to 5 will be obsolete. Now, let's unpack what that actually means. He's not saying people won't work. He's saying the structure that we've called normal for 100 years of clocking in, clocking out, 40 hours a week, waiting for a pension or a 401k to carry you into retirement, that system is already dying. Why? Because it was built for a different world. The 9-to-5 was created during the Industrial Revolution. Back then, factories needed workers to show up at the same time, do repetitive tasks, and then leave at the same time. It was efficient for machines, but what we've discovered over the years is not really efficient for humans. Fast forward to today, we're not in a factory economy anymore. We're in a digital economy, a wisdom economy, a decentralized economy. And the signals, guys, are everywhere. AI is automating white-collar jobs, not just factory roles. We're talking about copywriters, lawyers, paralegals, accountants, even coders. Goldman Sachs released a study predicting that 300 million jobs globally will be disrupted by AI technology. Guys, remote work is exploding. Before the pandemic, only 6% of the U.S. workforce worked primarily from home. In 2023, that number was closer to 28%. And hybrid work, splitting between home and office, has become the default for millions more. Guys, the freelancer economy, it's booming. A study by Upwork showed that 39% of the U.S. workforce freelanced in some form in 2022. Guys, that's 60 million people. And for Gen Z, nearly 50% already freelance. Guys, let me give you the translation here. People are already walking away from the 9-to-5. The system, guys, isn't waiting until 2034 to collapse. It's happening right now in real time. And yet most people are clinging to the illusion that if they just keep their head down, keep clocking in, and stay loyal to their company, they'll be safe. But ask the 200,000 tech workers laid off in 2023 how safe they felt before they got the pink slip. Ask the employers at Blockbuster who thought DVDs were forever. Ask the folks at Borders Book who never imagined Amazon would eat them alive. The warning signs, guys, are blinking red, and Reid Hoffman just put a date stamp on it. So the question is, are you going to keep living like this system will take care of you, or are you going to start preparing for what's next? Now, let's talk about this word our culture has worshiped for decades. You ready? Here it is. Security. We were told security came from getting good grades, landing a steady job, working hard until retirement. That was the blueprint. That was the American dream. But the reality, the dream is more fragile than ever. A Gallup poll recently revealed that only 20% of workers worldwide feel secure in their jobs. 20%. That means 4 out of 5 people are showing up every morning with the nagging fear, what if this is the day I get let go? And they're not wrong to feel that way. Just look at the headlines. In 2023, Amazon laid off 27,000 employees. Meta cut 21,000 jobs in the same year. Google, 12,000. Microsoft, 10,000. Disney cut 7,000. These aren't failing companies, guys. These are the most profitable businesses on the planet, and yet entire teams were gone overnight. If these companies or if those companies don't guarantee security, then who does? The truth is, job security has always been an illusion. It worked in a different era, but in today's climate, depending entirely on someone else for your financial stability is like building a house on shifting sand. You might have a paycheck today, but what about tomorrow? And here's the part that most people miss. The 9-to-5 wasn't created to fulfill humans. It was created to maximize factories. Back in the 1920s, Henry Ford popularized the 5-day, 40-hour work week. Why? Because it kept production efficient. It wasn't about human flourishing. It was about output, car output to be exact. And it worked for a while. The structure created a middle class, suburbs, pensions, the so-called American dream. But what served the factory economy doesn't serve the digital economy. We're not building cars anymore. We're building ideas. And here's what's wild. The industrial model we're still following was designed for a world where most people didn't even finish high school. Fast forward to today, nearly 40% of Americans have a bachelor's degree. We have infinite knowledge in our pockets, and AI can outprocess any human on repetitive tasks. Yet we're still chained to a system built for factory whistles and punch cards. It's outdated, it's inefficient, and it's collapsing. Meanwhile, the new economy rewards creativity, problem solving, and wisdom, which means the people who thrive won't be the ones who stay in line the longest. It'll be the ones who can take what they know and multiply it through leverage. And the best way to do that? Digital products. Guys, before I unpack digital products, let me pause here to tell you that this program, this episode, is sponsored by the Wise Builders Creator Academy. If you've been listening and you feel that tug, if you know you got wisdom inside of you, but you're still stuck trading hours for dollars, this is your sign. The Academy is where I help leaders, messengers, authors, wisdom-driven entrepreneurs package what they know into digital products that scale. Real businesses, real frameworks, real income streams. Guys, this isn't about hype. It's about building systems that create freedom for you and transformation for others. So if you're serious, I want you to head to markcasto.co/academy. That's markcasto.co/academy and apply today. Guys, this isn't, let me say this real quick. This isn't a discovery call. This is not for you to come ask a bunch of questions. This is, we'll certainly answer questions, but this is not a call for you to come waste time, our time, your time. It's about an application call to actually join a community of pioneers who are already making that shift. So if you're unsure about this, if you're not sure this is for you, if you're not interested in creating content and packaging that into digital products, please don't apply, because we don't work with everybody anyways. We can only take so many. But if this thing is really burning in you and you've got wisdom to share, book a call, apply to join the community. Let's get back into it. Guys, here's the big shift. The old economy was built on labor. The new economy is being built on wisdom. Labor says, show up, do the task, go home. Wisdom says, I've solved this problem before, and I can help you solve it too. Labor is limited. You only have 24 hours in a day. Wisdom is unlimited. It can be packaged, multiplied, and distributed 1,000 times without you even being in the room. See, that's the power of digital products. Think about it. A single online course can help 1,000 people at once. A single template can save businesses hours over and over again. A membership can build community across continents. And guess what, guys? People are hungry for it. Did you know that the global e-learning market is projected to hit $375 billion by 2026? People are spending more than ever on online courses, coaching, and digital resources because transformation is the new currency. This is why I say wisdom is the new gold. And the people who know how to mine it, package it, brand it, sell it, they're the people that are going to thrive. So let me give you a story that actually illustrates what I'm talking about, okay? I worked with a guy who spent 12 years as an IT manager. He was great at what he did, but his company went through restructuring, which is corporate speak for you're fired. He panicked at first. He thought, I need to dust off my resume, apply for new jobs, maybe take a pay cut just to get back in somewhere, somehow. But then he realized, wait a second, I've built entire systems. I've trained teams. I've solved problems that small businesses are struggling with every single day. So instead of running back to the hamster wheel, he packaged his knowledge into a course for small business owners on how to set up simple, secure IT systems without hiring a full-time manager. He priced it at $497, and in his first launch, he sold 40 copies. That's nearly $20,000 from one product. Within 6 months, he was making more than his old salary. And guess what? Working fewer hours. Why? Because he stopped depending on the system and started depending on his wisdom. See, friend, that's the shift. That's the opportunity. And that's why I keep saying it. Don't wait for 2034 to come and be forced into this when you can start right now. Now, guys, we're at a fork in the road. Every cultural shift creates a fork in the road. And that's exactly where we're standing right now. On one side, you've got the panicked. These are the people who are clinging to the illusion that brings things let me say it this way. These are the people who are clinging to the illusion that things will go back to normal. They're waiting for someone to come save them. Maybe their company, maybe the government, maybe the market. They see the storm clouds forming, but instead of building an umbrella, they just keep saying, maybe it'll pass. And when the collapse comes, and it will, they'll be the ones scrambling. They'll be the ones updating resumes at midnight, competing with millions of other displaced workers, begging for the same shrinking pool of opportunities. And on the other side, you've got the pioneers. These are the people who look at the same storm clouds and say, I'm not waiting for this thing to hit. I'm going to prepare now. See, the pioneers don't wait to be forced into action. They act while everyone else is still asleep. They package their wisdom, launch their products, build their systems, and when the disruption finally comes, they're not scrambling. They're already standing on solid ground. And guys, there's a psychological difference between these two groups. The panicked live in denial. They don't want to face the reality that change is coming, so they avoid it. But denial always leads to disaster. But see, the pioneers, they face reality head on. They say, yes, disruption's coming, so what can I build now to make sure I thrive instead of just survive? See, panic is reactive. Preparation of the pioneers is proactive. Think about the pandemic. How many restaurants scrambled to figure out online delivery when lockdowns hit? Meanwhile, the ones that already had a digital system in place, they didn't just survive, they thrived. And that's what we're talking about here. You can either wait until the collapse forces your hand, or you can build now and enter the next decade as one of the leaders who saw it coming. So let me give you some stories to make this real. Let's talk about Blockbuster versus Netflix. See, Blockbuster laughed at Netflix when they first started mailing out DVDs. They said, people will always come into stores. That was panic disguised as arrogance. See, Netflix, on the other hand, kept pioneering. First with mail, then with streaming, then with original content. Let me ask you a question. What company still exists today? Who's still standing? Let's talk about the taxi industry versus Uber. Taxi companies had decades to innovate, but they clung to the old system, licenses and meters. Meanwhile, two entrepreneurs built an app that flipped the entire industry on its head. Pioneers win, the panicked get blindsided. Let's talk about authors versus Amazon Kindle. Some authors complained about ebooks, saying it'll never replace print. Others embraced the new format, self-published digitally, and built empires. Today, indie authors dominate niches because they pioneered while traditional publishers panicked. These are the same dynamics we're about to see with the job market. The people who cling to the 9-to-5 will scramble. The people who pioneer digital product businesses will thrive. So let me press this in. The clock is ticking. Reid Hoffman said 2034. But see, disruption doesn't wait for our calendars. AI isn't quote unquote coming, it's here. Companies aren't planning layoffs, they're executing them right now. Remote work, creator businesses, digital income streams. This isn't the future, this is the present. And the only question is whether you'll see it before you're forced to. See, the pioneers are already moving. They're already building. They're already multiplying their wisdom into products, courses, templates, and memberships that give them leverage. The panicked, well, the panicked will wish they started sooner. So I'm going to ask you again, what side of that fork in the road are you standing on? See, oh man, let me just stop here before I dive into the how, okay? Let me pause for a second and give you the second sponsor of our program. This episode of the Mark Casto program is brought to you by Long Path Studios. Long Path isn't just a studio, it's a vision. It's a hub that we're building for kingdom creators, just like myself, thought leaders and entrepreneurs, to produce content that shapes culture instead of just chasing clicks. Imagine a space designed for voices of wisdom, a studio where you can record your course, film your content, host your podcast, or sit at a table with other leaders who believe wisdom, not noise, should lead the conversation. See, friend, that's Long Path. And here's the part I love. Every time someone invests in themselves through Wise Builders Creator Academy, they're also investing into Long Path, because the Academy doesn't just fund your business, it fuels the building of a space for thousands of future voices. So if you want to be part of building a future where wise voices rise above the chaos, I want you to head to markcasto.co/donate. That's markcasto.co/donate. Every dollar given is a brick in this foundation, okay? Now let's jump back in, and let's get super practical, okay? Here's the mistake a lot of people make. They hear predictions like Reid Hoffman's, they feel the urgency, but then they freeze. Why? Because they don't know what to do next. And when you don't know what to do, you wait. But waiting is the most dangerous response. The antidote to fear is clarity. The antidote to panic is a plan. And that's why I want to give you a simple roadmap, a practical blueprint that you can start walking today, okay? This isn't theory. These are the same steps that I've walked myself and the same steps I've walked and taught to my clients on how to walk it out. Clients who are now generating hundreds of thousands, even tens of thousands a month from digital products. So I want you to grab a pen if you're listening somewhere where you can write. If not, just lock this into your mind or listen to it again and take notes when you're able to, because this roadmap can literally change your life. So the first step is what I call wisdom inventory, okay? Most people underestimate what they know. You've lived through things. You've solved problems. You've picked up skills along the way. But because it's second nature to you, you don't realize how valuable it actually is to someone else. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to sit down and I want you to write out 10 outcomes you've helped people achieve. Not your job title, not your degree, outcomes. Did you help someone lose 20 pounds? Did you help a friend land a job by showing them how to interview well? Did you create a budget system that helped your family get out of debt? Did you coach your kids' soccer team and figure out drills that made them winners? Did you learn how to publish a book, start a podcast, design graphics, teach a class, or organize chaos into a system? See, every single one of those outcomes has market value. So here's an example. I had a client who was a stay-at-home mom. She didn't think she had expertise, but when we dug deeper, she realized she spent years figuring out how to meal plan on a budget for a family of 5. She turned that into a $47 digital guide with recipes, grocery lists, prep schedules, and within 30 days, she made over $2,000. Not because she had a degree, not because she had a huge following, but because she identified a simple outcome she had already mastered. See, that's your wisdom inventory. And then once you know what you carry, the next step is identify who it's for. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They think, I want to help everybody, Mark. But when you aim at everyone, you hit no one. So I want you to think of a real person, someone you've helped before, someone who represents your ideal client. So ask yourself, what keeps them up at night? What problem are they Googling at 2 a.m.? What do they desperately want to solve but don't know how? Here's the secret, okay? The more specific that you get, the more powerful your message becomes, okay? So for example, instead of saying, I help people with money, you'd say, I help young couples pay off student debt in 3 years or less. So instead of saying, generically, I help people with fitness, you'd say, I help new moms rebuild their strength after pregnancy. Instead of saying, I help people write, that's super generic, you would say, I help pastors turn their sermons into published books. See, when I said those things, do you feel the difference? See, specificity cuts through noise, okay? Specificity sells. And once you know the outcome and the audience, then your next step is to package it. So step number 3 is package your wisdom. And this is where people get intimidated. They think they need a full-blown online course with 50 videos and a cinematic trailer. You don't. You need a simple container that gets your person from point A to point B. That's it. It could be a short ebook, could be a paid workshop, a 4-week coaching program, a template or toolkit, a membership community. The format is less important than the transformation. See, one of my clients built a simple Google sheet for small business owners to track their expenses. That's it, a spreadsheet. She sold it for $27, and in the first month, 600 people bought it. Do the math. That's over $16,000 from a spreadsheet. Guys, that's the power of packaging. And now I'm going to give you step number 4, and here's the most important part. You cannot wait for perfect conditions. You've got to start before you ever think that you're ready. And if you wait until you have a perfect website, the perfect branding, the perfect funnel, you will never start. So guys, I encourage you today, start messy, start small, start now, because the pioneers aren't the ones with the fanciest setups. They're the ones who took action while everyone else was still waiting. Okay? Now, I want to bring this thing full circle. We started this episode with a simple but seismic prediction. Reid Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn, saying that by 2034, the traditional 9-to-5 job will be a relic of the past. Guys, that wasn't just a throwaway line. That was a man with access to global hiring data, recruitment trends, and a professional ecosystem saying, the system you're relying on today will not be here tomorrow. And now, almost an hour later, however long I've been doing this, I hope you see why I opened this way. Because this isn't about fear, it's about helping my audience get clarity. We're not living in the same world our parents did. We're not living in the same economy we graduated into 10 and 15 years ago. We're in the middle of a tectonic shift. And in every seismic shift, there are 2 groups of people, those who are crushed by the quake and those who stand on ground they built for themselves. See, the pioneers are building, but the panicked, they're going to wait. So the decision comes back to you. Which group are you going to be in? Now, before I give you my final challenge, let me tell you this. If you want to stay connected to these types of conversations, not just in long-form episodes, but in bite-sized weekly insights, then you need to join my email list. Every week, I send out a personal email. It's not fluff. It's not a newsletter full of links. It's a story, a strategy, a mindset shift, something that you can chew on and use in real time. Think of it like a weekly masterclass in your inbox. All you have to do is go to markcasto.co. That's markcasto.co and sign up. It's free, it's consistent, and it's where I share the raw stuff that I don't always post anywhere else. Now, let's close this conversation strong. Here's the deal. 10 years from now, we're going to hit 2034. It's actually 9 years from now. We're going to hit 2034, whether you're ready or not. And two groups of people will look back. One group will say, I wish I had started earlier. I wish I had built when I first heard the warning. I wish I hadn't wasted years waiting for someone else to give me permission. And then there's the other group that they will say, I'm so glad I built when everyone was still asleep. I'm so glad I planted seeds while others were scrolling. I'm so glad I took ownership of my wisdom and built something that gave me freedom. Friend, I got a question for you today. Which story do you want to tell? Because the choice is in your hands right now. So if you're ready to take that next step, if you're ready to package your wisdom into income and impact, if you're ready to build your own digital product business, then I want you to apply for Wise Builders Creator Academy today at markcasto.co/academy. Not tomorrow, not when your job gets shaky, not when panic hits, but now. Because remember, pioneers move before the panic. I'm going to leave you with this. The death of the 9-to-5 is not something to fear. I'm just giving you an invitation right now. It's an invitation to stop renting your life out to someone else's dream and start building your own. It's an invitation to stop outsourcing your security to corporations that could lay you off today or tomorrow. It's an invitation to stop trading your hours for dollars and start multiplying your wisdom into products that create leverage. Guys, we are pioneering a path for you now. That's what this podcast, this academy, this movement is about. Not waiting for collapse, but preparing for the future. Not scrambling when the pink slips arrive, but already standing on solid ground. And you don't have to be caught off guard, friend. You don't have to be the victim of change. You can be the architect of your own future. So please, man, listen to me. Don't wait to be forced into change. Choose it now. Start building now, because the future doesn't belong to the ones who waited. It belongs to the ones who prepared. This has been the Mark Casto program. I'm Mark Casto, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode. If this spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend, leave a review, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss the wisdom that's shifting lives and systems. Until next time, keep building with clarity and fire.